Hi everybody, welcome back, or thanks for joining me if you're here for the first time. I appreciate it. How are all of you doing? I'm filming this on it's a Saturday. It's June 22nd, maybe? I'm gonna show you a little Tukey over here. Can I get to her? Oh, she's being so good. She's napping. We'll see if that nap lasts while we're talking. But anyway, yeah, it's been about 2 weeks. I have so many, I was gonna say updates. Yeah, I guess I do have updates and knitting plans as I'm continuing to explore different fibers, looking at a little bit of the wool that I mentioned in my last video, and wool blends to see if there's any wool out there that I can actually wear. I'm not so focused now on wool because it's summer and I just want to take full advantage of having the motivation to knit things that I could actually wear now, although it's going to take me a while to knit them. Maybe I can wear them by the end of summer, who knows. But so in this video I'm going to show some progress on the couple projects that I have. The summer shirt that I'm making out of cotton, and the never-ending sock, and a couple acquisitions. I will put a timestamp on that part of it because I know that sometimes it just makes sense to skip the acquisitions part of a video, whether it's knitting yarn or even over on my booktube channel. I know that sometimes you're just not in the mood to see acquisitions of things, but it'll mostly surround some budget yarn and some clearance yarn from Joann's, and how I'm exploring cottons, linens, bamboo, those kinds of things. And then and some other then an acquisition from an actual yarn store that was in the area we were visiting a couple weeks ago. So anyway, yeah, so thanks for joining me. I hope you're either relaxing, knitting while you're watching this, or you're just have this on in the background as you're doing something else at your desk, maybe, as I used to do while I was working, if I was doing something mundane, or maybe you're cleaning and watching and listening at the same time, as I do also, if I'm cooking, cleaning, whatever. Oh, so one thing I wanted to mention that I'll talk a little bit about at the end of the video. I think I'm going to be changing the name of this knitting channel. I don't know how hard that is to do, and I'll talk about that at near the end, but I've thought of another name that might be more fitting, that will grow with me. And so I think the videos I've already done will just transfer over into that name, and your subscription, all of you lovely people that have subscribed, will just stay in place and you'll see the new name and all that stuff. Okay. Oh, what I finished. I think I was almost done in my last video a couple weeks ago. I still have a couple stitch markers in this thing. No, I think it's just one where I have to fix a hole just to remind me. But now I've blocked this and I'm done with my first project. Mistakes and all, clunkiness and all, it's done. My Open Trails vest worsted. And I have some video to show you with me wearing it full length so you can see how long I just used the pattern. And let me see on Ravelry, and my Ravelry here on my iPad, if I can tell which size and everything. I have photos on Ravelry. Calls for size 8 needle using 7 based on gauge. Yeah, I used a size 7 needle. I don't see what size I used, but I bet you, oh yeah, I'm sorry, it's size 2, because I was going to say it's probably not the smallest, because I have some pretty broad shoulders, and like in diameter, like a 36 bust, so that's what I'm looking for in patterns. I don't know the circumference of my shoulders. And I have, I'd say a pretty, well, probably a shorter torso than my legs, but not the shortest torso. I used, some of you that have been around before, you'll know, I used the brand, Lion's brand, Wool Ease, which is a, I'll just say a budget friendly economic value. I couldn't wear this wool though, even though it's only 45% wool, something like that. I couldn't wear this against skin. It's still too scratchy for me, but when I wear it over, as you'll see in the video, when I wear it over a shirt, long sleeved as I would, or over a thin turtleneck, which is what I would be doing in the wintertime, you know, around the house, something like that, it's going to be fine. I don't know if I was still working and I was on Zoom calls that I would wear this unless you couldn't see, you know, I don't think you can see this. You'll be able to tell in the video. I don't think you can see the parts that are obvious errors, except a little bit on the neckline. You could see that on a Zoom call. I don't know. But yeah, I'm super happy to have this done. As I said, Woolies would be fine for me if I was making another vest. And possibly a hat, but it was really great value. So I think, I could be totally wrong about this, but I think the pattern was free, and then there's a complete tutorial by Ashley Lillis. Wasn't that difficult to make. I mean, I obviously made it and it's wearable, but I feel like I needed more hand holding in some of the areas, like the decreases around the armhole and things. So I would go off and find additional tutorials until I found one that I could really relate to. The picking up stitches, I just didn't understand it the way she was showing it on the video. So then I just went off and found other videos. So just know, if you're going to knit this free pattern, it's beginner friendly, but you may need to find even additional video tutorials on the skills that you've never done before. And this being my first knitted project, I'd never done anything. So yeah, it was nice that I was able to get a free pattern. This cost me, the yarn was $4.13 on sale, and I think I used either 2 skeins and I got into a third. I feel like that's what it was. So it's like $12 or something for this. Really nice way to start knitting, and I highly recommend it. Use budget yarn, but yarn that works well for you. Not all budget yarn is going to be worth even the $4 because it's too splitty and stuff like that. And that's what I'm learning as I'm exploring yarn in my knitting journey. Okay, works in progress. My next project is the top-down circular yoke pullover. I put in here practice version. Well, I don't know why I said that, because it's definitely going to be something that I wear. But here it is. I have it on the needles. I don't have needle stoppers, but it's just sitting there nicely. I stopped in a place that I could actually do this. Do you see how the, what is it? I don't know. The eyelets that you do on this yoke create this fanned out thing, and then it creates the tops of the sleeves that you're going to go back and create the sleeve after I'm done knitting more of the body. I pointed out before I made a mistake right there, and unfortunately it's in the front. I also have, I've just noticed a bit of a hole in the back. You can't see it, but I have to repair that when I'm done filming. But I joined in a new skein, and can you see it? Oh, you really can't see it, but here's where I started the new skein, and it's like so slightly different, lighter than this one, even though they're from the same dye lot. And you really can't notice, see that line? You can't notice with your bare eyes, like if you see the skeins. It's showing up a little more, in some light it's more obvious than other light. And so I've just decided to keep going, guys. Yes, I have. Yes, I have. Why did I say guys? I never say guys. Friends. So, yep, I'm going to keep on going. I have another skein from another dye lot that looks like it's a little darker, but no, I'm going to keep on going. I don't want to tink back over an inch. I'm just hoping that when I wash it, maybe everything will, I don't know. I'm just going to keep on going. I made the decision. As I'm looking at other cottons and other blends of cottons and linens and whatever, this is not heavy, but, and it wasn't that way in the sample either, but it is heavier than other ones that I have discovered that are in the same price point. This was like, again, $4 and change, $4.30, $4.50, and this is only my second skein. So that's why I'm calling it my practice sweater, although I fully intend to be able to wear it. I really like this design. The pattern was not free. Let me see if I can tell how much the pattern was, because I do like that effect that it's giving with the circular yoke. And this pattern comes in short sleeved, three-quarter sleeved, and long sleeved versions. And how much did it cost me? Can I tell? I don't know if I can tell. I'll go to it in a second. I had to use US 7 needles. The gauge was all right. Oh, US 7 needles in the ribbing at the neck because I didn't have shorties at the time. But now I have the shorties. I just started the second skein. This is KNC Knit and Crochet Essential in Rainforest. And it's $9.80. So I fully expect to make other versions of this shirt. And I love this color here, especially the one in the middle. But I also really love the off-white, the vanilla. I love that. That's the one I'm making, except I'm not doing the roll. I didn't do the rolled collar. Also, rolled collar or ribbed collar, I did the ribbed. So I like these patterns because right now I have to add $9.80 to the total cost of this shirt. But I fully intend on using it again, which is what I'm going to look for in patterns as I'm paying money for them. Okay, speaking of patterns, I also have going this was also a free pattern. It's the Vanilla Sock on 9-inch circulars by the Crazy Sock Lady Designs. I say never ending because I can't remember where I was when I talked about this the last time, but I think I had either unraveled this to, just completely unraveled it at the last video, or I was saying I needed to unravel it because I tried to move it onto, excuse me, to, I think, DPNs to make the heel. And that wasn't working, and then it was never right. So I restarted it, but I restarted it like 4 times. Many problems, just getting the stitch count wrong. And then I'm using these bamboo, excuse me, these bamboo size 1 needles that I got from Joann's a while ago, and they're not sharp at all. Now, when I if I did this again, I would use I now have shorties in the Chiagos, and I would use the little 9-inch circular cord that I have too, and see how that goes. But I didn't do that with this. So I'm at 60 rounds, or 63 or 4 rounds actually, after the ribbing, and so I'm ready to do a heel. I marked off every 10 rows so I would know when I would get to 60. And I actually think I'm going to continue with the video, the Crazy Sock Lady Designs video, to see if I can make a heel using the circulars. I don't know. We'll see. I'm using this Regia yarn that I've showed many times. And it's kind of toothy, you know, which I guess I don't mind. This is unwashed, obviously, right now. I don't mind in a sock. So that's just a never-ending gobstopping kind of project, I think. But that's fun. Okay. Now I'm going to start talking about my journey with cotton, with yarn, cotton, bamboo, linen, so on. I'm going to start by just reminding all of you about this beautiful Purl Soho yarn that I got. I treated myself. This was like, it was on sale. It's 25% off. I don't remember how much it was now, but this is Santolina. It's 70% organically grown cotton, 20% rayon from bamboo, and 10% hemp, and it is as light as anything compared to this K&C Joann's cotton. You know, it's very light. And this skein, let's say it was $20, and then maybe it was 25% off, something like that. This is in teal tide and made in Peru, and it's 328 yards, and I have 3 skeins, so I have enough for a short-sleeved shirt according to some patterns that I have. In a US 2 or 3, the gauge is 26 to 28 stitches in 4 inches. I gauge swatched this. Where's my gauge swatch? Oh, here it is. A tiny gauge swatch. Wait, I'll show you the right side. A tiny gauge swatch. See that fabric? Oh, it's so light, so pretty. I've started making these little tags to tell me information about the gauge swatch. Oh, that was upside down. And it says 27 stitches in 4 inches using a 5. And I think this was on metal needles. I'm also saying whether I used metal or wood. So yeah, I basically got gauge using a size 5, I guess because I'm a tight knitter. So I also put on here the construction of the yarn, 70% cotton, 20% rayon bamboo, and hemp. And then this gets thumbtacked to my cork board, and that's how I'm keeping track of my swatches. And then just putting whether it's metal or wood needles is what I've started adding, because on these, what I'm finding on these plant fibers is that sometimes they're so slippery that I have to use wooden needles. That's not true with the Santolina. It's not true with the K&C cotton from Joann's. I'm able to use metal. So that's that. So I already have that yarn. I know that I'm going to make I'm going to try to make Andrea Gowan's Sunshine Tea. This is the cropped version. She has the regular length version. It's very simple. It's a crew neck with the ribbing, and you can add stripes, and she shows you how to do that. And I would highly recommend that you check out the Ravelry page for the summer tee, because it's really fun. For this pattern, it's a fingering weight. It's a classic t-shirt fit. I'll put up a picture of it. And the gauge is, sorry, I know. I'm doing a size B, even though that's going to be, doing a size B because I think my stitches, my gauge is larger than hers. So that's why I'm doing a size that's close to my bust measurement. Oh yeah, 27 stitches by 36 rounds. So the rounds is off. Yeah. So, but it takes up, like, it feels like an extraordinary amount of yarn. I have enough yarn, but for this size, full length. Now, whether that means I go to her full length or not, I don't know, but it's 970 yards and I have like just about that much. So we'll see. I also don't recall how much this costs on Ravelry, but I like having this plain crew neck project because I can play around with it. I'm going to look up this pattern while we're talking. I can play around with it. I actually think I have this, yes, in my queue. I got mixed up. It was $10. I didn't like that, but it's going to provide me solid examples. There's the solid, and then the main photo is this striped, which I really like. And the projects, people that have done the actual garment are just like so many different yarns, so cute. This one just plain and classic with the black stripe. So the thing that I want to do with this is also add some, if I successfully am able to follow the directions, I want to do a version that's got a different color ribbed collar and a different color tipping on the short sleeves. So that's what I want to try when I have successfully done a version of this already. I am keeping my patterns in this just plain 3-ring binder. And for instance, this open trails, when I finished it, I put the ball band. And then I need to put the ball band for the scarf. And I just have everything organized. That way when I purchase a pattern, it can just go right in here and I don't just lose them somewhere in downloads, which I certainly don't want to do. Okay, so that's the Purl Soho. That's the just gorgeous, gorgeous cotton combo yarn that I can highly recommend so far. Then I was exploring some, I'll just say, really budget yarns from Joann's. And here's what I found. First, I tried this Patton's linen, which is a linen and cotton blend. I think they have the wrong color band on this one. It says it's sweet potato, but I think the orangey color they have in this is the sweet potato. I don't know why, it's just labeled wrong, I think. But this is 275 yards, 65% cotton and 35% linen, made in Turkey. A knitting podcast that I watch was making, she was making something out of this, and I thought, oh, okay, I like how that looks so far. And so I thought I'd try it. It was on clearance. It was like $5.97, but it was even further off than that, so it was like $4. And here's the sample. The tag came off. Let me just see what it says. here's the sample. And I mean, it's drapey, but it's really dry, and this is blocked, and it just never felt like anything I wanted. I don't know, maybe it softens up. Let me know if you've used Patton's Linen, which is a cotton linen blend. Does it continue to soften up with wear? This wasn't inviting to me. I got 23 stitches in 4 inches using wood needles. I had to use wood, US 6. Do you have to wash this first and dry it in order to use it better? I don't know. Just let me know if you have any experience. But I ended up returning this for something else because I can always get this later, but I found something that I liked. So that's why I picked it up, because they were having a sale. So I'll put this tag back on here. These tags I picked up at Joann's, and in a pack, and they were full price at like $4, and I used my get 40 or 50% off a regularly priced item. Yeah, gotta work the coupons. So then I picked up Kobu because a knitting podcaster that I watch, whose name I will put below, showed a camisole that she had knitted. I think it's a camisole, not a tank, with Kobu, Lion brand. And this is a combination of 51% cotton, 49% rayon from bamboo. And it says the stitch count is 23 stitches, and here's where I think this is wrong. 16 in a row using a size 6 needle. That has to be wrong, right? That row count? I feel like it has to be 32, not 16. But anyhow, I didn't let that bother me. I just knew that that had to be incorrect. So this is like a mushroom color, and I don't know why I picked it up. I don't know. I was drawn to it. I don't know that it would do me any favors, but now I have a skein of it. I don't know. I don't know why I did it. Did I say the yardage? 232 yards, so really nice. And again, this is like $4.50 or something because they're having a 25% off sale. So it's inexpensive to begin with. So I took back the Patton's Linen, and I got this color of the Kobu, which is called Denim. So I got this color in a sweater's quantity, so like 4 of them. And then I got this because we're using that summer tee, again, if that works for me, I wanted to do the collar in white, the body in blue, and then the sleeve ribbing in white. And it would just be so crisp and nice and almost 70s in a way. But, you know, could I do something with this by doing a white collar or using a color of the Kobu and putting this in as a stripe? I don't know. That's yet to be seen. But at least I know I'm going to use these first and see what happens. Oh, and by the way, how does it feel? It blocked, and I don't know if I really showed this. I don't think I did. But really light, lighter than the K&C that I'm using. And I just think the stitch definition, again, this is a US 6 on metal needles. So it wasn't like, you know, flipping off the needles or anything. It was really nice, and I really like it. So that's future plans and a yarn acquisition. So after let me just see, with the sale, yeah, $4.87 a skein for a t-shirt quantity, and probably even more. So we'll see. And then the only thing I have left is a acquisition from Magpie Fibers in Frederick, Maryland. So I got to know Magpie Fibers from Emma from Barnaby Knits, aka Tiny Desk Knitting, a wonderful knitting podcast. She lives in Baltimore. I used to live in Baltimore and Baltimore County. And so I know the area, and I love Frederick, Maryland, which is what, 40 minutes from Baltimore. And we went back to that area because we were visiting places that we loved. We went on a bike ride from a certain place on the C&O Canal towpath, which is a rail trail, but it's really a towpath, and a historical towpath, which is just lovely and amazing. And I love all the canal houses that you see that are still there and things like that. So we did from the Point of Rocks, Maryland trailhead to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, and back. One of my favorite bike rides ever. It's about 13 miles one way, so like 26 miles. It was a very hot day, and we did it. It has been a long time, 3 years since we've done that, and it just brought back so many wonderful memories. While we were in the town of Frederick, I didn't know if I would feel like going into Magpie, whether we'd have time to go into Magpie, but we did. And even my husband went into Magpie and was just like blown away. It's so aesthetically pleasing. Go on their website, check it out, look at their Instagram. So it's such a delight. So this was a real, special trip, and I wanted to get a skein of yarn. This is the first time I've ever done this, I think, that I've like gone to a destination and bought yarn. I'm trying to think, have I done that yet? But anyway, I didn't think I would get this, but I did. I ended up with one of their yarns called Swanky Sock. It's called Swanky Sock because it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. It's 400 yards. Now, this is a yarn that I could wear. Like, it's $30 some, so I'm not buying this yarn to make a sweater's quantity. And it's a sock gauge, so it's 27 to 32 inches and 4 inches. But maybe I could someday. There are other bases that they have that I'm interested in that aren't cashmere, that don't have the 10% cashmere, but they feel lovely on my skin. I think it's Quartet is one of them. I'll put up a picture of the tomato orange red that I absolutely loved and will someday, at some point, maybe buy one of their bases in that color. And they actually have cotton too. So I'm super looking out for sales from Magpie. But this is called Highline, and I am going to make a scarf out of it. Not a scarf, like not a long rectangle, but like a wrap, but not like a shawl with a triangle. I don't like those, but like something that goes like, just a little bit of a bump in the middle, and then I can just wear it in the wintertime. But if I'm on an airplane or somewhere that's really air conditioned when you're traveling and whatnot, that's what I want to make. So I have one skein, 400 and some yards. I'm looking for the perfect pattern. I will take any suggestions. I've got like the Sophie scarf that's the Sophie shawl. I think it's more yardage than this though. So something like that, that's what I'm looking for. That would really just beautifully show off this. It's like a gray, but it's like a grayish. It's like a gray beige base with all these beautiful colors. So yeah, something like a Sophie scarf, but if that takes up more, I have it in my favorites. So I'll take a look in a second how many yards that is when I'm talking about ideas that I have. Then I know this is a little silly. But I got one skein of Sandusgarn Sunday. I've always wanted to try this out. It's only, they sell them in these little 50-gram balls. It was $10. And this has like the slightest amount of prickle, like slight. I haven't made a swatch out of this, but I really wanted to explore this. And I will be very mindful of the dye lot. They had a lot of skeins there. It's so squishy, and it's the perfect red for me. Like this, I mean, I like all kinds of shades of red. This is one of the shades that I love. It's like an academic red. You know what I mean? Oh, what's it called? Deep red, 4236. Non-superwash, and yet, yeah, so this is not double Sunday, which is the thicker. I guess this would be like fingering weight. Yeah, I can't wait to make a swatch out of this, wash it, block it, see how it feels, and maybe add more to this and make something. I have no idea. I went a little crazy on that. That's Magpie Fibers, folks. Like, so worth it. And it's so worth to explore their website. They are just wonderful people in there. They have lots of kits, but even if you're not interested in buying a kit, you can see what patterns they're highlighting. And I got so many ideas from looking at their patterns. All right. We're up to 38 minutes already. Okay, I'm winding down, or winding up. I want to tell you about the ideas. Okay. I just end up sticking things into the queue, but I'm starting now to remember that I should maybe put them in favorites instead, because maybe these aren't. Oh, one of the ones that I saw that was kind of like the Sophie scarf was called Biella by Paula Piera. This is going to use 306 to 320 yards. But I wonder if it's large enough. I absolutely love the color that's used in this sample. Beautiful. Yeah, so we'll see. That's kind of what I'm thinking about. It might be something like that. I do have the Sophie scarf in here. Of course, she uses cashmere. I mean, but she uses other things too. And I don't know. Oh, that's the Sophie scarf. I do have the Sophie shawl in here somewhere. Okay, what was I wanting to show you? Oh, I know. Oh yeah, there's the Sophie shawl. It says, yeah, 328 to 656 yards. I think there is a medium version, but it's very close to that one I just showed you, like a garter stitch. This is one of the, I think this is a kit you can buy. I swear to God it is, I think, but this is what Magpie highlights. Look at this tank. This Intarsia color block, I don't know. But this is made from a Purl Soho yarn, but they give you the suggestions in the Magpie Fibers. I adore the way this is put together and the three colors just like that. I have to make that someday. I don't really wear a lot of tanks, but I'm telling you what, there's something that is so, and when you look at the projects, how people put colors together, the Moon Crush tank by Jacqueline Cieslak. Yeah, I am all over that. So that's just one example of many that you'll see on Magpie Fibers website. Okay, well, that'll about do it for me. Thanks for hanging in there. I don't know how Suki just stayed on her little ottoman, which is where I store my yarn, by the way. Let's check her out. Took, you've been so good while I've been making that video. How did you be so good? Are you just so tired from going outside today? Yeah, are you just so tired? Yeah. Well, I take her out with a an adventure cat, travel cat, harness and leash. thanks for joining me. I look so forward to your helpful comments and your encouragement and your feedback. I'm really having a lot of fun. Oh, and I actually think I'm going to Rhinebeck. I don't know, it's just going to be so overwhelming. But I don't know what days I'm going, but I just want to let all of you know. If any of you go to Rhinebeck, you can let me know that you're there. Rhinebeck is one of my favorite towns. It has one of my favorite all-time ever restaurants, which is, now I'm going to forget what the name is. Gigi's Trattoria. We were just there a couple months ago. So we love that area. And I look forward to going to Rhinebeck. I have to make a plan. I just want to take it all in and meet a bunch of people. Oh, let me tell you about the title change. Okay, so I was thinking that the name came to me. I was driving recently, and the name of the channel came. I was thinking about the name of the channel, and I feel like I want to change it to something that will grow with me and will be less specific to my name. And so I think I'm changing it to Adventurer Knits. And thank you for anyone that's subscribed. I really appreciate it. It's a wonderful feeling. So thanks again. I really look forward to reading your comments, and I'll see you in a week or two.